Did you know that 67% of new commercial drivers quit within their first 3 months? Not because they lack the technical skills to operate an 18-wheeler, but because they never learned to embrace the uncertainty and challenges that define professional trucking. Meanwhile, there's a 19-year-old who started with a borrowed $100 and a single horse-drawn wagon, delivering packages through Seattle's roughest neighborhoods, who transformed every setback into fuel for building the world's largest delivery empire. That young man was Jim Casey, founder of UPS, and he understood something about embracing challenges that most truckers never learn. The obstacles aren't separate from success, they are success. When Casey was rejected by banks, ridiculed by competitors, and blocked by regulations for 34 years straight, he didn't just endure these hardships or try to overcome them. He loved them, he welcomed them. He saw each challenge as confirmation that he was on exactly the right path, because easy paths don't build empires. This is the ancient Stoic principle of Amor Fati, literally love of fate, and it's the difference between drivers who survive their first solo run and those who thrive throughout decades of professional trucking. Whether you're a CDL student preparing for your first day behind the wheel, a new driver facing your initial solo assignment, or an experienced professional seeking to reignite your passion for the road, how you approach uncertainty and adversity will determine not just your immediate success, but your entire career trajectory in this demanding yet rewarding industry. In the next 20 minutes, you'll discover exactly how to transform your relationship with trucking challenges from something you endure to something you embrace, using the same mental framework that Jim Casey applied to build UPS into a company that now employs over 280,000 drivers earning six-figure incomes. We'll explore the 3 pillars of Amor Fati that successful truckers use to turn every breakdown, difficult customer, and regulatory challenge into stepping stones for career advancement and personal growth. You'll learn the obstacle welcome protocol that Casey used when facing his greatest business threats, and how this approach applies whether you're dealing with your first weigh station inspection, a demanding dispatcher, or the transition from company driver to owner-operator. We'll dive deep into the challenge reframing system that transforms anxiety about unknown routes, weather conditions, and equipment problems into excitement about learning opportunities and skill development. You'll discover the professional identity integration technique that Casey mastered, which helps you see every difficult situation not as evidence that trucking isn't for you, but as proof that you're becoming the professional driver you're meant to be. Most importantly, you'll understand how this philosophy scales with your career. The same principles that help CDL students embrace their first backing attempts become the foundation for experienced drivers who welcome industry changes, technological advances, and business opportunities. By the end of this episode, you'll have a complete system for approaching your trucking career with the confidence and resilience that separates great drivers from those who merely survive, regardless of whether you're facing your first solo run tomorrow or your 1,000th delivery next week. Meet Marcus Thompson from Atlanta, a 26-year-old former warehouse supervisor who just received his CDL after 3 intense weeks at a driving academy. Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., Marcus will climb into the cab of a 2020 Freightliner Cascadia for his first solo run, a straightforward haul from Atlanta to Jacksonville, about 350 miles of mostly interstate highways. His trainer, Big Jim, completed Marcus's final evaluation yesterday with encouraging words. "You've got the skills, kid. The truck knows what to do. Trust yourself and trust the process." But tonight, Marcus lies awake in his apartment, mind racing with scenarios he can't control. What if the weather turns bad? What if he gets lost despite GPS navigation? What if the receiver gives him trouble at delivery? What if DOT pulls him over for inspection? What if his electronic logs malfunction? What if other drivers don't respect a rookie on the road? His training covered every technical aspect of professional driving: proper following distances, backing techniques, hours of service regulations, pre-trip inspections, load securement protocols. He can execute a perfect 90-degree backing maneuver and recite federal motor carrier safety regulations from memory. But nobody taught Marcus how to handle the mental and emotional challenges of professional independence, the psychological shift from supervised learning to solo responsibility. His anxiety isn't about driving ability. It's about facing the unknown variables that experienced drivers navigate daily with confidence and even enjoyment. Marcus represents thousands of new drivers who possess technical competence, but lack the philosophical framework that transforms uncertainty from enemy to ally. According to the American Transportation Research Institute, driver turnover in the first year exceeds 94% at many carriers, with 43% of departures occurring within the first 3 months of employment. Industry surveys reveal that the primary reason isn't inadequate pay, poor equipment, or long hours. It's the psychological stress of constant uncertainty and the feeling that they're always one mistake away from failure or disaster. New drivers report that their biggest challenge isn't mastering backing maneuvers or understanding regulations, but managing anxiety about situations beyond their control: unpredictable weather, mechanical failures, difficult customers, aggressive motorists, and enforcement encounters. This creates a dangerous cycle where stress impairs judgment, leading to mistakes that reinforce fears about professional inadequacy. Professional drivers know this pattern intimately. You've seen promising rookies quit after their first breakdown on a mountain pass, their first encounter with an unreasonable shipper, or their first duty inspection that revealed violations they didn't know they were committing. The technical skills that seemed so important during training become secondary to mental resilience and the ability to maintain composure under pressure. But here's what most driver training programs miss entirely. The difference between successful and struggling truckers isn't their ability to avoid challenges, but their relationship with challenges when they inevitably arise. Drivers who build lasting, satisfying careers don't experience fewer problems, they experience the same problems differently. They've learned to welcome uncertainty as proof they're growing, to see obstacles as opportunities to demonstrate competence, and to view each difficult situation as preparation for greater responsibilities and rewards ahead. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." But it was 19-year-old Jim Casey who proved this philosophy in the delivery business when he borrowed $100 in 1907 to start American Messenger Company in a 6-foot by 7-foot basement beneath a Seattle saloon. Casey didn't just accept the challenges of starting a delivery service with no capital, no connections, and no experience. He embraced them as the exact conditions that would force him to innovate, work harder, and provide better service than established competitors. When wealthy customers looked down on the young man with calloused hands delivering their packages, Casey didn't feel ashamed of his working-class background. He welcomed their skepticism as motivation to prove that determination and reliability matter more than pedigree or polish. When established delivery services tried to undercut his prices, Casey celebrated the competition as validation that his business model threatened their comfortable monopolies. Most revealing of all, when Casey was rejected by bank after bank for expansion capital, he didn't see this as evidence that his business wasn't viable. He saw it as proof that conventional thinkers couldn't recognize revolutionary ideas, which meant he was on the right track. Casey understood intuitively what Stoics call Amor Fati, the practice of not merely accepting your fate, but loving it, embracing every challenge as perfectly designed to develop the exact skills and character traits you need for your ultimate success. For truckers facing their first solo run or any career challenge, Casey's approach reveals the difference between enduring adversity and using adversity as fuel for growth and confidence. Here's how to implement Jim Casey's approach to Amor Fati in your daily trucking operations, starting with what I call the 3-phase welcome system that transforms your relationship with challenges from resistance to gratitude. Phase 1 is immediate recognition, where you catch yourself the moment you feel anxiety, frustration, or dread about trucking challenges. Instead of trying to suppress these feelings, acknowledge them while simultaneously asking, how is this situation perfectly designed to make me a better professional driver? When you're assigned a difficult route, tight deadline, or challenging load, your first response becomes curiosity rather than complaint. Phase 2 is active appreciation, where you deliberately find reasons to be grateful for the exact challenges you're facing. Traffic delays teach patience and route optimization. Equipment problems build mechanical knowledge and problem-solving skills. Difficult customers develop communication abilities and emotional regulation. Weather challenges enhance safety awareness and decision-making under pressure. Each obstacle becomes a specialized training program customized for your professional development. Phase 3 is future integration, where you connect current challenges to long-term career goals. Every backing attempt, every way station, every tight delivery window prepares you for greater responsibilities as an experienced driver, trainer, or owner-operator. This isn't positive thinking or denial of real difficulties. It's strategic reframing that aligns your daily experience with your ultimate objectives. Jim Casey mastered this approach early, treating every delivery as practice for building the world's most reliable service, every rejection as market research for improving his value proposition, and every setback as intelligence gathering for strategic planning. Jim Casey's journey through his first decade demonstrates how Amor Fati principles scale with experience and responsibility, offering a roadmap for truckers at every stage of career development. As a teenage messenger working 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. shifts through Seattle's dangerous neighborhoods, Casey could have resented the long hours, low pay, and physical risks that forced him to quit school at 14 after his father died of miner's lung disease. Instead, he embraced this harsh apprenticeship as exactly the education he needed to understand customer service, urban logistics, and the delivery business from street level up. When Casey started his own company and faced immediate competition from 9 established messenger services with superior equipment and financing, he welcomed the pressure as proof that Seattle's delivery market had room for growth. Most entrepreneurs would have chosen an easier market with less competition, but Casey recognized that competing against the best would force him to develop superior systems, service standards, and operational efficiency. When World War I created labor shortages and fuel restrictions that threatened his expanding business, Casey didn't complain about external forces beyond his control. He saw wartime challenges as opportunities to innovate with alternative transportation methods, optimize routes for maximum efficiency, and prove his company's reliability when competitors struggled. Perhaps most remarkably, when Casey faced his greatest test, 34 years of regulatory battles from 1952 to 1986, as he sought interstate operating authority, he never expressed bitterness about bureaucratic obstacles. Instead, he called his strategy the tortoise approach, sure and steady, plodding toward its objective, recognizing that regulatory resistance was creating competitive moats that would protect UPS once they achieved nationwide authority. Each rejected application taught Casey more about regulatory requirements. Each legal battle strengthened his company's compliance systems, and each delayed expansion forced operational improvements that served UPS for decades. Casey's advanced mastery of Amor Fati reveals how this philosophy deepens with experience, offering insights for professional drivers seeking to transform their relationship with industry challenges and career obstacles. During UPS's most difficult period in the 1970s and 80s, when Teamster strikes, fuel crises, and regulatory battles threatened the company's survival, Casey, now in his 80s, continued to embrace adversity as perfectly designed for UPS's long-term success. He understood that strikes forced operational improvements and backup planning that made UPS more resilient. Fuel shortages accelerated efficiency innovations that reduced costs permanently. Regulatory delays allowed time to build superior systems before nationwide expansion. Casey's weekly practice of anonymously interviewing UPS drivers on street corners demonstrates the deepest level of Amor Fati application. He welcomed criticism, complaints, and negative feedback as the most valuable business intelligence available. Rather than surrounding himself with yes-men who told him what he wanted to hear, Casey actively sought out problems, challenges, and difficult truths because he understood that unexamined obstacles become company-killing blind spots. For professional truckers, Casey's example shows how Amor Fati evolves from personal resilience tool to career advancement strategy. Experienced drivers who welcome difficult loads build reputations for reliability that lead to premium assignments. Owner-operators who embrace regulatory compliance as competitive advantage attract quality customers who value professional partnerships. Fleet managers who see driver turnover challenges as opportunities to improve working conditions and communication create cultures that retain top talent and attract industry-leading professionals. Casey's ultimate insight was that every industry challenge, from technological disruption to competitive pressure to regulatory change, serves the companies and professionals who embrace change as fuel for innovation and improvement. Marcus Thompson's transformation began the moment he shifted from dreading his first solo run to embracing it as his graduation from student to professional driver. Instead of lying awake worrying about everything that could go wrong, Marcus spent his last evening as a trainee studying his route not for problems to avoid, but for opportunities to apply everything he'd learned. Traffic delays became chances to practice patience and observe other professionals. Weather challenges became opportunities to demonstrate safe driving under adverse conditions. His first way station inspection became a chance to show respect for regulations and professional standards. When Marcus experienced his inevitable first breakdown, a blown trailer tire outside Macon, Georgia, he didn't panic or feel defeated. He saw it as his initiation into the brotherhood of professional drivers who handle emergencies with competence and grace. 6 months later, Marcus voluntarily requested challenging routes that other drivers avoided, understanding that difficulty builds capability and reputation. Jim Casey's ultimate vindication came in 1999 when UPS went public, creating $5.47 billion in value for employee stockholders who had embraced Casey's philosophy of shared ownership and determination through adversity. Casey, who died in 1983 at age 95, never lived to see this triumph. But his example proves that Amor Fati isn't just personal philosophy, it's wealth-building strategy that transforms entire industries. For truckers at every level, Casey's journey from borrowed $100 to global empire demonstrates that embracing challenges rather than avoiding them accelerates career development, increases earning potential, and creates opportunities for leadership and entrepreneurship. Your specific action steps start with daily practice. Welcome your next difficult load as skills training, embrace your next DOT inspection as professionalism validation, and see your next equipment problem as mechanical education. The mental framework you develop handling today's challenges becomes the foundation for tomorrow's opportunities, whether that's transitioning to owner-operator status, becoming a trainer or safety manager, or building your own transportation business. Next week, we'll explore one of trucking's most difficult challenges, the personal sacrifices required for professional success, including missing family events that matter most to the people we're working to support. Here's your 7-day Amor Fati challenge, specifically designed for truckers ready to transform their relationship with professional challenges from resistance to embrace. Each day for the next week, I want you to practice what Jim Casey called determined gratitude by actively welcoming one specific challenge that would normally frustrate or worry you. Day 1. Welcome your next backing situation, whether it's a tight dock, difficult angle, or time pressure, as a chance to demonstrate the skills you've developed and improve your technique. Day 2. Embrace your next encounter with traffic delays or construction zones as opportunities to practice patience, observe other drivers' techniques, and appreciate the complexity of transportation infrastructure. Day 3. If you face equipment problems, embrace them as mechanical education that builds your troubleshooting abilities and reduces dependency on others for problem solving. Day 4. Welcome interactions with difficult dispatchers, customers, or enforcement officers as communication skills training that develops professionalism under pressure. Day 5. Embrace weather challenges, whether rain, wind, or temperature extremes, as opportunities to demonstrate safety consciousness and adaptability that separate professional drivers from mere vehicle operators. Day 6. Welcome regulatory compliance requirements like log checks, inspections, or paperwork as chances to prove your professionalism and attention to detail. Day 7. Embrace any unexpected route changes, delivery complications, or schedule pressures as problem-solving exercises that build the flexibility and reliability that define great truckers. Most importantly, at the end of each day, write down specifically what you learned from embracing that day's challenge and how it contributed to your development as a professional driver. This isn't about pretending problems aren't real or denying genuine difficulties. It's about shifting from victim mentality to growth mentality, from surviving challenges to using challenges as fuel for career advancement. If this episode helped you understand that your first solo run or your next career challenge isn't something to endure, but something to embrace as perfectly designed for your professional development. Subscribe to this channel because we're building a community of drivers who understand that obstacles are opportunities in disguise. Share your Amor Fati experiences in the comments. What trucking challenge have you learned to welcome rather than dread? And how has that shift changed your career trajectory? Next week's episode tackles one of trucking's most emotionally difficult challenges, missing your kids' game, where we'll explore how Stoic principles help you navigate the sacrifice and long-term vision required for family financial security while maintaining strong relationships with the people who matter most. Thanks for staying with us, and see you in the next episode.